How's it going, everybody? This is Ricky and welcome back to the Stanley Parable. Now in today's episode...
All of his co-workers were gone.
Why the fuck are you interrupting me for?
Stanley decided
we've heard
to go
this
to the
speech a
meeting
million
room.
times.
Perhaps he had simply
But yeah, in
missed the
today's
memo.
episode we're going to be going for the insane ending. I think it just involves
When
going
Stanley
down the
came to a
stairs
set
instead
of
of
two
up.
open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Right, okay. Yeah, because it's where the stairs where you go up to your boss's office. You have
Yet
to go
there was
down
not a
instead.
single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief,
Oh, shit.
Stanley decided
Oh, no, I'll
to
just
go
walk
up
straight
to his
into the wall.
boss's office. Hoping coming to a staircase,
I'm going downstairs,
Stanley walked
motherfucker.
upstairs to his boss's office.
Sweet
But
car,
Stanley
bro.
just
Is
couldn't
that
do
mine?
it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss,
Looks
admitting
awesome.
he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because
What?
he believed
I know
everyone
I'm
had
aware that
vanished.
there's supposed to be
His
loot
boss
and
would think
rooms.
he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers
Yeah,
blinking
crazy as
mysteriously
fuck.
out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all. None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close
Oh,
automatically
shit, yeah.
behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms
Do
were
doors
starting to
close
look
behind
pretty
me?
familiar.
Yeah, fuck- oh
Why
my
simply
God.
repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be
I'm
real.
all kinds of
And
tripping
at
balls
last,
right now.
he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming!
Ah, the
Yeah.
dream ended.
This is all a dream.
The biggest cop out in all
What
of
a
gaming.
relief Stanley felt to have
Oh,
finally
sometimes
found
it's
an
done
answer,
right,
an
but yeah,
explanation.
what? No.
His co-workers weren't
We're
actually
not a fan
gone.
of the dream
He
ending.
wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid.
Yeah, man.
So, he imagined himself flying and began to
whoa.
gently float above the ground. Then he imagined
Hey,
himself
I like
soaring
this.
through space on a magical star field.
Space?
And it too appeared.
We go to
it
space?
was so much fun. And Stanley
This is fucking
marveled
awesome.
that he had still
I'm
not
really
given
tripping
up.
balls.
How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking?
But no, but
Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And
Yeah.
while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life.
yeah.
Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice
I
was a
like my
part
cat,
of himself
everybody.
too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a
How
dream.
am I going to prove I'm in control?
So
I'm really
he
not.
closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He
Okay.
felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream.
That's
I
really-
wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal.
All right.
Everything will be fine. I am okay.
Can we move again?
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone
now
wake
he's
me
going
up. My
insane.
name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
Of course it did.
This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
Mariella?
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day. The very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
That was quite a powerful ending, if I do say so myself. That was good stuff. It's like when they started talking about dreaming and like him going to sleep, I was like, surely the insane ending isn't really the best name for this one. But yeah, then it just went balls to the wall insane, literally. But yeah, that's it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please remember to hit that like button. I really appreciate it. And I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.